This is what I need you all to understand right now. If you want a successful, thriving company, it's not always fun, but you have to decide what contracts and boundaries you will be honoring, you will be enforcing, and what type of behavior you will be tolerating in your life. Welcome to the Earn Your Happy podcast. I'm Lori Harder, founder of The Bliss Project, 3-time fitness world champion, fitness expert, and cover model turned self-love junkie, lifestyle entrepreneur, and author. Each week, I'll bring you a guest or a thought that will help you bust through your fears, connect to your soul, and get focused and clear so you can elevate your life, business, and relationships. We don't wait until we're ready for someone to tell us we're good enough. We take what we want and we anoint ourselves. Get ready to earn, own, and unapologetically rock your happiness every single day. Are you with me? Here we go. Welcome back to the show, and it's time for another quickie because there's always time to fit in inspiration. And I'm so excited to talk to you about what I'm about to talk to you about. You're like, just tell me what you're going to tell me. So I have been thinking a lot about decision making because I'm finding that in order to run a really successful company and create a culture, and also if you want to start another business, or if you want to be successful in the business that you're in, or maybe you're a part of a company, or maybe, you work at a big corporate building or whatever that is, if you have a job at all, decision making and making amazing, important, big, incredibly challenging decisions is going to be the key to whether you are happy and successful or not, right? And we can all end up making decisions, but some of us take a lot longer, and that can cost us a lot, not only monetarily, but it can cost our peace. I don't know about you, but if I'm sitting in indecision, I just did a podcast on this, I am in massive pain. I'm stressed out. I'm anxious. I go back and forth. I tell myself a million different stories. And so what I want to talk about today is to decide what you'll honor, what you'll enforce, what you'll tolerate. Decide what you'll honor, enforce, and tolerate. And I thought that if you had a moment, so maybe if you're in your car right now and you really want to get clear on this, you can listen now, but I would highly suggest writing this. I'm telling you, writing and actually getting it out of your body and being really clear is going to be one of the biggest things that you can possibly do for yourself. So I'm actually going to do this for myself on a big board. I may or may not keep it private because I do think this is like my personal code of ethics that I'm going to be writing down. And this will be what I make my decisions on. And I'm telling you, when my company gets bigger and when I start this other company, this will be on the walls as a clear decision-making process for myself and for the culture of what I want to create moving forward. So decide what you'll honor, enforce, and tolerate. So this is what you're going to make every single decision off of. And when I say honor, this is what I want you to think about. So if something is happening in your business, or you have been asked to speak somewhere, or you're getting asked to go and do something and you have signed contracts, you decide for yourself personally. We all know that there's like a code of morals and ethics out there, but we all know that majority of people have their own, or they go off their own, or they break the ones that we think are culturally standard, because really nothing seems to be standard anymore. So we've all signed contracts when we get a cell phone. We've signed contracts when we get married. We sign all of these different contracts in our life, and many people honor them and many people don't. But what happens is there are a lot of different things that will hold those contracts in place. And for a lot of people in small businesses or businesses, it has to be them who decides if they're going to hold those things in place. So that's an example of, are you going to honor your contracts? And are you going to honor the contracts that you sign that you know may not be massively enforced? That is your decision. This is what you have to write down in your code of ethics. So here's what I have written down for the 3 things. Right now, I have at the top of my page, decide what you'll honor. And then I have arrows pointing down. And then I have decide what you'll enforce. And I have arrows pointing down. And I have decide what you'll tolerate. And for each one under honor, it says, if you decide to honor, I will honor my word. And under that, it says, but does my word have any exceptions at any time? And if it does, what are those? So I'm going to write those things down, right? So I'm always going to honor my word. Unless, I do have exceptions on some of those. Unless something happens drastic in the company where if honoring my word means having to get rid of everybody's job, or if it really threatens someone else in the company to the point where it's not healthy for the team. If it's something that seemed like an amazing decision one day and actually could be something that could really harm, the company moving forward or the future of the company. So that's what you need to do, is decide what you'll honor. I will always honor my word except for these exceptions, right? So you'll go and you'll look and you'll say, so when something comes up okay, this doesn't feel very good. I really don't want to go and speak at this place, or I really don't want to go to this party now, or I really don't want to do X, Y, and Z. Okay, but you said yes, and it doesn't fall under any of those exceptions. So if this is the person that you wanted to be when you were writing this in your highest self, maybe you said a prayer before it, let my highest self write this code of ethics or make these decisions. If you said yes, and it doesn't fall under those exceptions, and you know that you want to honor your word, then guess what your option is? You go and you do the thing, because this is your code of ethics that you've decided. This is your highest self. And this is the one when your head hits the pillow, you're going to be the happiest with. So something else about this, you're no longer in indecision. You're no longer going back and forth of, if I stayed home, because we said, let's just say you said yes to going to a wedding that was in another country. And all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, this seems so hard, blah, blah, blah. You're doing all the things. You're telling yourselves the stories of why you shouldn't go, of the money that you're going to spend. But you said yes to this person. You were so committed. And so what else this is going to do is you said yes. It doesn't fall under any of the exceptions. And so you've realized, okay, I've got to get back into getting committed. And now I'm going to think of only good stories about what's going to happen. And now I'm going to think of how happy they're going to be when I show up to celebrate the wedding. Now I'm not going, I'm going to cut off all other decisions, right? I'm going to cut off all other stories. I'm going to cut off all other emotions. I'm only going to feel the emotion of saying yes and knowing that I'm honoring my word. There, boom, done. So this is the decision-making process. And if you don't start to understand who you are and who you want to be, the universe doesn't know. And you're always going to be in this flippy floppy back and forth blobfish. Have you ever Googled what a blobfish looks like? It's just all over the place. There's no container. There's nothing to contain it. It has no structure whatsoever. So I can only imagine how we all feel, which I know how we all feel, when we are in indecision, or when we go back and forth, or when we don't know how to answer. So for me, it's this is another thing about, if I know I'm going to honor my word, you better believe that I'm going to take some time to say yes or no, right? I'm going to sit on the decision for a day. So if it's a big decision and someone's saying, hey, I'd love for you to come over here and it's great in the moment. And I say, yeah, let me know. I'd love to be there. I don't do that anymore, ever. I'm like, you know what? I'll look at my calendar and I'll get back to you tomorrow. So then I go and I sit with it, and then I write them or let them know or call them and tell them exactly, my exact answer of, it's probably going to be a no. Right? It's probably going to be a no. So I don't jump into yeses at all anymore, because it causes so much stress and time of trying to figure out how to say no or how to get out of it. You're not going to have time for this later on in your life when you are starting to run something that is much bigger than what you're doing right now. And I'll tell you that I used to do this all the time. I'd sit in indecision. I would say yes to someone, and then I'd go back and I'd say no. It was a disaster, and I didn't like how I was showing up. So underneath my decide what you'll honor, one of the first things is word. And you can also put different things under there, but also ask, does this have any exceptions? If so, drop down another arrow, write the first exception, the second one. Maybe you don't have any exceptions on any of these. So when you go to make a decision, you look at it and you're like, crap, I didn't write any exceptions because my higher self did not want me to get out of this. So the next question, decide what you'll enforce. Meaning boundaries. So decide what you'll enforce. My first drop down is boundaries. And then my second one is contracts. And then underneath that, I have under both of them, do I have any exceptions on these boundaries? And then it's, do I have any exceptions under these contracts? If so, write them out. So I'm not going to get into too much of this because I really got into a lot of it with the honor one, but this is exactly what I want you to do. So enforce should have one arrow down. And for me, it has boundaries and contracts. Maybe you have a lot of other things. Maybe you have things that are really big for you that you want to write underneath there too. And just write if there's any exceptions. Like think of everything. Like, okay, if someone is, I'm going to honor everyone's contract that I sign unless someone falls terribly ill with a terminal disease, unless someone has lost an immediate family member and they need X amount of time or a refund on this. Other than that, no. Like other than that, I am not refunding anyone's money because it was completely in the contract, right? Like something like this. It needs to be so rock solid and clear so that when you get those tough decisions of maybe you had a retreat, right? Maybe you had a retreat and it had all of the contracts lock solid. You had lawyers look at it. You have all the papers written up. And this is your very first retreat because you are leaving your corporate job and you finally want to be doing this. And you're not clear on how you're going to enforce your contracts. Like you haven't actually thought about it because you've been too busy in the planning. And all of a sudden, maybe people right before get a lot of fear around leaving the country or doing something they're not used to. And I totally get this because I've had, this will be my 8th Bliss project. And every time right before Bliss comes, people start getting scared and they want a refund. Well, I've already paid for them. So I absolutely am not giving you a refund because that is the contract. You read it. You signed it. This is exactly what your soul wanted. And now it is now on you to know that you are breaking a contract. And that is a lesson that you have to learn because I'm honoring and locking in the contract I made with myself of keeping my contract and making sure that you get your butt there or that you learn from this lesson. If I just said yes to all of these people who were afraid, like, yeah, here's your money back, no one would ever come. And then I would never be able to book the event and I would never be able to have this business or do these events again because word gets out quickly. This is what I need you all to understand right now. If you want a successful, thriving company, it's not always fun, but you have to decide what contracts and boundaries you will be honoring, you will be enforcing, and what type of behavior you will be tolerating in your life, because you will be living what you tolerate. So if it's underneath enforce, you have that arrow down, then you have boundaries, and then you have contracts, and then you make sure you write out any and all exceptions. And as soon as a decision comes up and someone starts pushing those boundaries or testing them or trying not to honor something, you look back at what your highest self wrote and you stick to that no matter what. It is not your job to make people like you. It is your job to honor your soul contract and keep moving forward with your life's purpose in offering, whatever you can to help other people. But with that comes a lot of trials and challenges. And the first thing that will come, I feel like especially for women, will get tested in this area, is people judging your character out of these different decisions. But all you have to know is that you honored who you were in that moment. You honored exactly your word. You honored your contracts and you showed up exactly how you should. So then my third one is, what will you tolerate? And under that, I have treatment. Just as in, how will people treat you? How will people show up? Like this could be endless things. So what will you tolerate? What kind of culture do you want at work? What are the different ways that people are going to be showing up? So underneath tolerate, just decide what you want underneath there. So what will you tolerate? Maybe how your family treats you, and write any exceptions or write how you want them to treat you, right? Or what you won't tolerate. Sorry about that. And then write, are there any exceptions to this? Like if you wrote, under tolerate with family, what will you not tolerate? People being a certain way to you, maybe people not showing up to any of your holidays, whatever that looks like. And then say, are there any exceptions? Well, of course there are exceptions. But if it doesn't fall underneath those things in the decision-making process when someone's treating you poorly, you need to also then say, what steps will I take? Well, the first one be, if I want this to go smoothly and I want to get back to love no matter what, because you're writing this with love. Like literally before you write this, say a prayer and say, please guide me to help me understand exactly how I want to show up in really challenging situations, with the highest good and the highest love, or whatever that looks like. Maybe spirit guide me, maybe God help me, however, but definitely say a prayer before writing this. And then underneath that, you'll say, how do I want to respond when these are broken by other people, or when I break them, right? Is the first step a conversation? And if that conversation doesn't go smoothly, then what? And if it's been several conversations, you decide, if I have 2 or 3 conversations and this keeps happening, or maybe if this happens 2 more times, like you make an actual decision and you say, then I'm putting a boundary up and I'm not allowing this person in my life for a while. Or however that looks. And you've made a decision, so you're no longer in the black and white saying, this happened again. I knew I shouldn't have let this happen, or I can't believe this is going on, or this is all I'm thinking about, or I'm so mad at this person. Like that is an energy drain. It is draining you from exactly where you're supposed to be, who you're supposed to be helping. It's draining you from giving the love you're supposed to give to your family and to yourself, right? So being really clear on what are these decisions in life? Do they have any exceptions? Because nothing is black and white, right? You have to write out the gray. And also understanding that, yes, you want to stick to this as close as possible, but there will be an exception that you don't know about or that you forget about. But for the most part, you're going to be really clear when you're going to try to make an exception that isn't really an exception you want to be making at all. And you're like, that just is, that's not going to work for me. So you're going to know that it's threatening who you wrote down that you want to be, because maybe your character is being challenged. Maybe someone's telling you you're a bad person because of something. And you're like, this all says I followed my rules and contracts. So I'm going to go ahead and just stick with this decision and make peace with it and pray around it, and know that if I don't do this, that I'm not going to be able to have the self-respect for myself. I'll know that I'm not actually protecting this sacred business that I want to start, that's helping so many lives, that's employing so many people, or is about to employ a lot of people, or is changing the legacy of a lot of families. That's what you have to remember, is your boundaries and your contracts and your word. And what you're saying no to is a protective barrier on this sacred business and money that you're making to help move people forward. You have to get right with saying no. You have to get right with making money. You have to get right with when people challenge you, let them not like you. Stick to your decisions that you know are right. So I get super fiery about this because I see so many businesses not make it. I see so many people start to crumble when things get hard. If you're an entrepreneur, your job is to solve problems. That's it. So if you wake up and there aren't problems, you might need to look at your business and if it's moving forward fast enough, or if it's growing fast enough. So honestly, if a problem comes, know that you chose to be an entrepreneur because you wanted to be the one who wants to solve the problem. So if you don't want to be the one who doesn't, or who doesn't have problems, you guys go work for, someone else, or something that you don't have to even worry about, or a company that you don't care about. Because even if you go work for an amazing corporate company, or you are working, somewhere that you love, you're going to feel this. Like, the only way to not solve problems or have pain or have hard times like this or have tough decisions is if you don't give a flying F about the place that you are working. And that's not how any of us want to be, right? If you love what you do, if you enjoy what you do, I don't care what position you're in, you will absolutely have to solve challenging problems. And majority of those problems are going to be with people, or they're going to be solved through people. And I'll tell you, it's not going to be the easy route. It's going to be you having to stand up and say what you need to say to move things forward, or create a boundary, or stick to something, or stand up for your culture, or not tolerate something, not tolerate certain treatment, not tolerate how people are showing up. So you guys, I just want you to know this is all a part of it. It's beautiful. It's for you. And it's either all for you or none of it is. That is my belief in life. And that is what gets me through every day. And that's what keeps me excited about life. So that even when massive challenges on a platter come, I'm just like, all of this is for me. All of this is happening for me. I've adopted the belief that this is all a setup for what is coming next. I need this new muscle that feels so painful in order to know how to move through quicker, easier, better on this next problem that's coming, or on this bigger thing that I will get to work on. So I was thinking today, when we get a problem as entrepreneurs or in the workplace at all, sometimes it's easy to get stuck in them. So maybe someone on your team, if you're in network marketing, has really hurt your feelings, or stabbed you in the back, or is totally going against what you're saying. Or maybe someone, who works for you has just done a complete 180 and you were just completely shocked by what's going on, or you can't tolerate the way someone's showing up anymore. Or maybe one of your clients, or a coaching client or something like that, is breaking contracts, or you're, maybe they're saying things about you, or they don't like the way that you've done things. And we can get really stuck in those problems. And the thing is, those aren't the problems that are going to move your business forward. And those aren't the things that are going to help. Those are actually going to drain you. That's actually harmful to your company if you don't make a decision, quickly move on and make peace. So I was thinking today, I was actually in SoulCycle thinking about this. And I thought, oh my God, when we get stuck on a problem, it's like going to the gym and having a really hard workout. And after leaving, just like trying to get back into the pain of how much it hurt while you were doing squats, and how agonizing that was, and how terrible it felt while you were at the gym, and how sore your muscles are. It's like, you guys, when we leave the gym, we're like, yeah, okay, that was really hard, but now I'm going to focus on what it's going to do for me. So this is what we need to do. Instead of being like, oh, this is so hard. The problem happened. You don't have to focus on it. Now you ask yourself, why is this happening for me? How do I move through with peace, with love of the highest good? And understand that sometimes when you're doing something hard and making a hard decision, it's actually because that other person needs this lesson. You can't rob people of lessons, right? You cannot rob people of their lessons. And a lot of times when you make tough decisions and you have to stand up for yourself, you are one of the biggest pieces of their lessons that they would never be receiving if you did not do that. So it's not only a lesson for you to stand up for yourself and your boundaries, but also for them. So it's equal. We're all fulfilling soul contracts every single day. And I can tell you, whether it was in my, fitness business when I'm, or for my monthly membership program, I can tell you whether it's, was during writing a book, and working out contracts. I can tell you whether it's hiring employees, or being in network marketing and working with a big team, or now doing big events, or whatever that looks like. It has always been challenging. It has always been hard. I've always questioned, oh my God, is this what I'm supposed to be doing? This is really hard. Should it feel this painful? And now I'm like, okay, let's not focus on that. Like, why would I go back and be like, wow, that squat was terrible. It really hurt. Oh, my muscles were so fatigued. I can't believe it. Like, no, this is all for me. This is all making me better. I love that I get to do this. I'm so freaking blessed. Bring on the problems, because problems are why I'm here. If we didn't have any, you wouldn't be an entrepreneur and you wouldn't have a business. Like, you're solving a problem the day that you say that you want a business, because your business is going to solve problems, right? My business is going to provide X. My coaching is going to provide X. My food, whatever it is, it's going to provide something. You're solving a problem. So guess what comes with that? You're going to be solving problems every single day, and it's going to rock your world, and it's so worth it. And it's all about reframing. And you guys, I'm super fiery because I've had a lot of people come to me like, either worried about their business or how are they going to, say no to this, or they're having a lot of trouble honoring their word. They're having a lot of trouble honoring their boundaries. I'm like, you're not going to keep what you have, and it can't keep growing because you're not going to be able to handle the bigger decisions later on. So do it now. Decide who you are now by writing this all out and using this graph. It's not going to be easy, but it's going to be clear. And the more clear that you are, the faster you move. And the faster you move, the more that the thing that's burning in your heart and your purpose is going to be out in the world. And you're going to feel so much peace at the end of the day because you're fulfilling your God-given purpose. You're fulfilling your God-given purpose. So you guys, I'm sending you so much love today. Thank you for that. I was just on a rant because I have so many amazing women in my life right now who are having trouble with making decisions, making tough decisions, and feeling like their boundaries are getting crossed left and right. And I'm like, well, this is something that we're tolerating, right? So what are we tolerating? This is what your life is going to look like. If you didn't tolerate people pushing those boundaries, it would stop showing up. It's because our lessons will keep showing up until we understand what we need to do clearly. So I really hope this helped you guys. I hope that you can put your hand on your stomach and feel a little bit of fire of knowing who you are and letting that person come out more, because that higher self absolutely knows best. So I love you guys so much. Let me know what you got out of this. If it was something that's hitting you right exactly where you're at, I would love to know if it helped you make any decisions. And once you make that decision, let me know. Let me know if you find some peace on the other side. So sending you so much love, you guys. Until next time, earn your happy. Bye, everyone. Thank you guys so much for spending this time with me on the Earn Your Happy podcast. I am so glad that you stopped by. If you could take 1 second to share this episode with someone you think would love it, that would be absolutely amazing, and we would be forever grateful. Also, please leave us a review if you feel so moved by going to iTunes and leaving us an honest thought, an honest comment. Tell us what you think. Tell us what you want to hear more of. It would really help us out on our journey to helping thousands and thousands of people. Until then, don't forget to earn your happy. Thanks again, guys. Bye-bye. Hey, do you know what the big secret is this year? And it shouldn't be a secret, because this should be your biggest focus. It is building your community. I am always working on building and nurturing my community, and everyone is talking about the power of community. Without an online community, you just cannot grow organically or create a real movement, which is what I know that we're all after. And you can build trust or monetize your audience. When you get community right, not only does your audience grow faster, but so do your sales. But where's everybody going to be managing their communities these days? And a lot of online entrepreneurs and thought leaders are turning to Circle.so. Circle is an all-in-one community platform. It lets you host content and create discussions, live streams, group chats, and memberships all under your own brand. And what's so cool about Circle.so is that you don't even need a website or Facebook group. Instead, Circle lets you build your own community site where you can host content and manage your members. You can even create locked and unlocked content spaces, groups, and classes. How freaking cool is that? You can put your content behind a paywall too, and you can charge different amounts of money for different spaces on your community site. Circle.so is famously easy to use, and it has a free 14-day trial for you, so you can go check it out, see if you like it, see if you love all the options. Just go to Circle.so. Go check it out right now, you guys. Imagine being able to manage your community, start group chats and live classes, and accept payments all in one place. Kind of mind-blowing, since this is usually spread all over the place. You have to log into so many different things. If this is the year to capture, organize, and monetize your community, head over to Circle.so. You can get a free trial and start building your online community right now. Just go to Circle.so. You guys, you get the 14-day free trial. So just go and see if it's for you. It's going to streamline everything and make your life so much easier. It's so freaking cool.
thanks for listening to the podcast. And I want to make sure that you have my phone number, and I'm not kidding. Did you know that I have a community text number? For real. My phone number is 310-496-8363. This goes directly to my phone. All you have to do is text the word daily to 310-496-8363. And I literally text you every single day, Monday through Friday. I actually just got done 30 seconds ago texting a bunch of people back, and I talk to you all of the time. You guys, people always ask me how I got my community text number and how it works. Well, all you have to do is you can just go to community.com and get your own. Community makes it easy to get a phone number that you can use to build your audience using text. People just text you at your number and they're added to your group. Then you can text them out audios, video links, anything you want. You guys, I text out happy birthday videos. I love to send podcast links, thoughts about life, book recommendations, different events that I'm doing in the local area. Texting gets me out of the noise of social media and directly into your hand. And now you can start texting your people too. Just go to community.com to get your phone number. They give you a 10-digit real phone number, not those weird short codes that look like spam, but it's more than a phone number. Your new number comes with an inbox for SMS and texting. This means you can actually manage your text list from your computer and an app on your phone. You can schedule text to send at certain times and to certain groups. You can even set up auto replies or let your assistant or customer service team answer your text messages via Community's awesome dashboard. Just go to community.com and ask for a free demo. They'll show you how it works and get you your number. It's time to start texting your audience versus just posting on social media. Everyone uses Community for that. So go check them out at community.com. I can tell you it's not just great for communicating with my audience, but Chris and I use Community and our texts to also sell out our launches. I'm telling you, you get such an incredible response because you really are creating a true, deep sense of community. And it's so intimate. It's freaking amazing. Go check it out at community.com.
Hey y'all, I'm so excited to share with you, Earn Your Happy is now part of Growth Day Podcast Network. A bunch of us are coming together to bring more growth to the world and support shows and brands that we truly believe in. And one of my friends is also on the network, and I'd love for you to go subscribe to his show. You guys, Trent Shelton has the most incredible podcast. It's called Straight Up with Trent Shelton, and it's going to remind you that you are built for this. I have heard Trent speak in person multiple times. I've listened to his podcast a ton. He's coming on the show and I literally cannot wait because this man just spits straight fire. It is like truth that goes to your core and makes you take action right away. If you want one of those podcasts that when you're just out on a walk, you can't help but want to start running and run through a wall in your life, this is the show to go listen to. So you guys make sure that you go subscribe to the show Straight Up with Trent Shelton. You're going to love it.